Hey guys, I'm John. Welcome back to my channel. I am here in Edmonton in front of the Canadian Tire with my big blue beautiful Alberta flag showing my support for Alberta independence. And you know, I don't really know where I'm gonna go, but I actually came here because I needed to buy an oil filter. And I was like, you know, this is a good place as any to make a video. So I saw a whole bunch of people and then they walk away. But I'm gonna see what happens. Hey, how's it going? Do you guys support Alberta independence? No? Okay. All right, so I'm not surprised by that, but no, the reason I came here to buy an oil filter is because times are rough. You know, over the last few years, I've actually started changing the oil myself, and I've become much more aware of it. Hey, how's it going? Do you support Alberta independence? No, thanks? Okay. No, you're not interested? Okay. You know, and actually, anyway, enough about that. The thing I want to talk to you guys about today in this video is how we need to start being bold and we need to start showing ourselves. I made a video in Stettler yesterday, but I didn't turn the mic on, and so I can't record it. I can't publish it. But I noticed in that video, which you're never gonna see, is a lot of people support it, but they're afraid to go on camera and say it. And I thought there'd be more people here at this time of day, so. But the thing that I wanna encourage you is we need to start being bold about this. We need to start showing our colors, showing our numbers. Okay, now, maybe you're not, you know, kind of stupid like me, where you're gonna walk around with a big flag to try to get noticed. But there's other things you could do. And so, first I just want to say is you should do a risk assessment. I'm not encouraging you to do things like this because this could be dangerous. Let's just be real. There are a lot of people who are deathly against this. I see that there's people up ahead there, so I'm gonna go that way. But there's a lot of people who are deathly against this, and if you read some of the comments, people are posting like pictures of nooses and stuff like that. So I think there's definitely a real legitimate risk to doing this. So what would your risk tolerance be? Instead of walking around with a flag by yourself, how about we walk away in a group? Hey, there we go. Right? And I'm a nobody. I don't have anybody organizing this with me. I am just walking around doing this. Hey, there we go. Like, I'm so sick of seeing flags for other causes that have nothing to do with Canada and nothing to do with Alberta. And I find them intimidating. And that's what I want to encourage you guys to just realize is, oh, I should have pushed the button. You gotta be smart to have this job, guys. I wanna encourage you that we need to show our numbers. There is a large group of Albertans, I think a majority, who absolutely support independence. Absolutely support it, but we're afraid. And so in that video that you're never gonna see, a lot of people were afraid. They actually told me, please blur my face, please don't put me on the camera. My employer might find out, or people I know might find out. Well, that is a problem, okay? But we can't be afraid of that. They can't cancel all of us. And you know, I encourage you to be bold. Go buy a flag and hang it somewhere, you know, in your house, out the window. Put it on your front lawn. Okay, there we go, now I can cross. All right. Get some stickers for your vehicle. Nobody waves. We'll see if Edmonton supports me. Hey! Yeah, so you know what? If you're part of that middle, then I'm speaking to you in this video. There's a part of the population that will never change their mind on this issue. They are locked in, and there's nothing you can say to them. And my advice to talking to those people is, once you identify them, just shrug it off and move on. Actually, better yet, say, God bless you. Even if you're not a Christian, just say, God bless you. Because that's gonna heap coals. That's gonna heap coals upon your head, or upon their heads. And then just move on, okay? Because there's no change in their mind. Whoa, this is super slick here, okay? So don't get worried about them, and I think they're the minority. I'm hoping they are, because I'm putting my whole reputation on the line with this movement, and I encourage you to do the same. Now, if you're already an independent supporter, then I'm actually not even speaking to you either. This is just entertainment for you. You're just watching this and thinking, oh my God, look at this guy go. Okay, you're probably cheering me on and leaving some nice comments, and I really appreciate that, by the way. My first video, I got so many comments. Okay, but I'm speaking to the people in the middle, the people who are undecided. Man, I walked into the wrong place. I looked at Google Maps and this was like all open. Huh. Okay, this is not the place to go in Edmonton if you want to meet people. Guys, where should I go in Edmonton to meet people? Because this is not what I thought. But yeah, I'm speaking to the people in the middle, the undecided, right? And I hope to change your mind. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to find people who are opposed to it, and I'm going to let them talk. I'm going to let them talk and talk and talk. Just like that one lady in my last video. Now, I do want to clear up some things about that video. I said something about how Quebec balances their budget, and then I kind of transferred that into talking about equalization. And so the truth is, Quebec actually balanced their budget pretty much consistently right up until about 2017 or 18 or something like that. And they've been running deficits ever since. And I think a lot of that just has to do with COVID or whatever, but so I just want to be factually correct. But then the argument that I made was, well, they're balancing it, and places like Alberta can't balance our budget, and we're paying so much in equalization, it's not fair, right? And then somebody commented about equalization. What does that actually mean? And so I've heard two arguments about equalization. Man, this place is just dead. I thought there'd be people here. Okay, I've heard two arguments about equalization. There's one that's kind of short and not really well thought out, and it kind of goes like this. It's just the federal government has a big wheelbarrow, and every year they go to all the provinces and they heap it up. And when they get to Alberta, they really heap it up. And then they just go to Quebec and dump it off across the line. So that all the greedy socialists can, you know, lick their lips. But that's kind of the stupid way to say it. And so I want to know a more intellectual explanation of what equalization actually means. And so, again, I'm not going to claim to be an expert, so if you're getting all your information from some guy on YouTube, you're doing this wrong, but I want you to correct me. So here's how I understand equalization to actually work. First of all, the spirit of it is we want to have equal services all across Canada. And, you know, I actually respect that, right? But, man, there's nobody here, right? They're chasing them away. But the way it works is every province has a fiscal capacity that is basically a pool of its abilities to generate resources. So, generate revenue. So that's like personal income tax, corporate income tax, royalties, and then all of that kind of gets tallied up, and then based off of that formula, they decide who gets, a top up and who doesn't. And then this would be fair if every province genuinely wanted to do the best that they possibly could, okay? They wanted to develop their economy the best possible way. So then you imagine, well, there'd be one year where Newfoundland just didn't have enough fish, or BC just didn't have enough, I don't know, whatever it is they sell in BC, lumber, right? And then we would top it up so that the provinces could all be equal. Except that's not what's happening. Alberta and Saskatchewan, right, pretty much lead the way where we genuinely want to develop our industries and get wealthy and be prosperous and successful as much as we possibly can. But then places like Quebec, specifically, they put in policies that prevent them from developing their own resources. They jack up the taxes and put so many burdens in the way that their businesses just can't succeed. And thus you wonder, why is it that Quebec is a province that is always consistently underperforming? Well, it's by their choice. So this is a deliberate policy that they have. And then, for 25 years, Albertans were more than happy to just 40 years, more than happy, just turn the other cheek and look the other way. We genuinely wanted in. We wanted into Confederation. We want to be part of this. For like all the Harper years too, like we wanted to be in. And then this last slap in the face with the pipeline. Like Quebec and BC, notably, and Ontario, they block our pipeline. They say, no, you don't get to develop your resources. Okay, well, we want to so that we can provide, for Canada. I was so proud. So many Albertans were so proud that people from Newfoundland and all over would come to Alberta and work hard and save their money and go back. And it was like, we really felt like, this was something we were part of. And then we just get slapped in the face. No, your opinion doesn't matter. None of this matters. And that's where we're at. And so, equalization morally can only work when all the parties involved genuinely want to do the best they can and pull their weight. Hey, how's it going? I support Alberta independence. Where do you stand on that issue? That was my one person that I've seen. I don't know. So then I just want to go back to that whole thing about the beginning. Look, guys, we need to start showing our numbers, and those lineups that you see at the petition signing, that's amazing. But we're showing it to ourselves. The only people seeing those videos are people who already support it. So we need to do more visible things. Hey, how's it going? Good. I support Alberta independence. Where do you stand on that issue?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's a tricky one.
Would you mind if I ask you a few questions on a camera? Oh, thank you so much. Hey, I feel so bad for your puppy.
Oh, don't.
Oh.
Or maybe you can. That's fine too.
I have a dog. His name's Ricky, and what happened?
She's from Iran.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How did you get her here?
Well, Muslims don't like dogs, but Persians love them, and she was through a rescue society through Vancouver.
Wow.
And I was just curious because they said she was from Iran, and I thought, how do you get a dog out of Iran?
I won't.
She's
I won't
good.
try to pet her, but
She's
my hands are full.
So yeah.
Well, no, I'm so okay. I'm just a private guy. I thought I'd come here on a crowded time of day and be like, where is everybody? 5 o'clock, people are going to the bank and getting food or whatever. Nobody's here. Is this normally dead at this time of day here? Or is it just because it's cold?
It could be a number of things, but
Okay.
it's probably, honestly, it's because the streets aren't clean enough to walk around, and it's probably pretty treacherous for people to be out right now, honestly.
Okay. Well, have you heard about the Alberta independence movement? Have you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kind of in the middle, or like sold on the idea, or like against it? Where would you stand, like, on the issue?
I think, solely speaking, people need a lot of community right now.
Okay.
A little bit of more is merrier collectively when we think about things geopolitically from a bigger standpoint, maybe.
Okay.
So I think in that sense, having Alberta, I have lived in Alberta most of my life. I'm currently technically live in BC.
Okay.
But when I think of Alberta all on its own up against everything else the world has, that makes me a little nervous.
Right.
Alberta, Canada as a whole, I would rather see us fight and put Canada back together as a whole and align our values for Canadian values. That's what I would rather see than Alberta out on its own up against everything and depleting its resources trying to stand for itself.
You know, okay, I really appreciate you said that, and I was right with you until like a couple of months ago, because I wanted to heal Canada as well. What's your stance on the trucker convoy? Can I throw that question at you?
Yeah, of course. I am all for. I wouldn't label myself a conservative.
Okay.
It's not generally been my.
But do you think the trucker convoy was like a conservative movement, or was it like a Save Canada movement?
No, I just want to preference that, I guess, by saying that. But I will always support freedom of speech.
Right. Hey, thank you.
From whoever that comes from.
Okay.
So I did think it was very hypocritical for a lot of people to not stand with that as its own entity voice in front of, like, that's our right. That's what Canada's built on.
Right.
I do feel that freezing assets was a line.
Horrible.
If the shoe was on the other foot.
Right.
Our government should never have that level of control over anyone.
Right.
Except maybe a terrorist group.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where you get the extreme powers to the terrorist groups, right?
Yeah, that's what we've been told to believe. That's what our government does. That's what we do, and that's what we pay them for. They are civil servants of us.
Yeah.
So to see protesters then be labeled that in freezing accounts, that scares me.
Right.
I'm actively moving my money out of Canada. That scares me.
Oh, you are right now?
Yeah.
So are you diversifying to US dollars or euros, or what are you doing?
No, I'm actually looking full globally because I don't trust
Bitcoin
a lot of... Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of other... Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
The reason I brought up the trucker convoy is because my opinion on it, I genuinely thought that was a movement to save Canada. Like, guys were with like hockey sticks playing in the streets and feeding the homeless and cheering each other. Like, it was the most peaceful Canadian thing I thought in my life.
Yeah.
And they labeled us all terrorists.
Yeah, I think that's, well, I will say that wasn't what was happening, but that was the media that was given to people. So I don't think the movement had a chance because it was labeled villains, and they needed that because they were going to then do things. So they needed a bad guy, you were labeled a bad guy, and that gave them the okay to do that. And then Canadians stood for that, and Canadians said, yes, that's okay. These guys are this bad. They're not. They're ordinary people, and that should have never happened.
Now, I mean, the independence movement is separate from the trucker convoy, but in my mind, I think that's when Canada kind of died. Like, they trampled people in the streets in front of the Parliament. Like, an Indigenous woman got trampled by horses, and like,
it's not our Canada. That's not okay. That's not okay.
And so, like, I want to save it, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, no, independence is the only option because saving it's over.
Here, let me ask then.
Okay.
As Alberta, as its own province, does every Indigenous group, every, what's the word you call them here? Nations, we'll say nations.
Indigenous peoples,
Yes, they're nations that they live on. Do they all have drinking water, safe drinking water right now?
No. So I've worked in Maskwacis and Wabasca. These are Indigenous reserves, and it's poverty-stricken, and so.
That's where I would feel Canada's lagging, and I mean that's the only thing with separatism, I guess, you know, those are big issues. Those are Canadian issues, and we should have those until.
So this is a big issue because, like, the complaint is like, well, are we going to honor the treaties? And I think we would have three options. Like, we could either keep the treaty with Canada, the federal government. We could transfer to the Alberta Republic, and we could take over the treaties, or we could renegotiate something that actually works, like provide, you know, services and do something like really they could negotiate.
I do feel, yeah, if the
such
message,
an amazing opportunity.
If it was the opportunity, if that was spoken, I think moving forward that should definitely be a talking point of that movement then, because that I could get behind.
Well, and I'll tell you it is. And so, you know, thank you so much for the interview.
Yeah.
If you want to follow me, I just started this YouTube channel. It's called Talking to Albertans.
Okay. Well,
so you're from BC, I guess, but
for a few more months.
Okay. Hey,
and
thank you so much.
And I have family here, and until then, we're all Canadians. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that so much, and God bless you for taking care of that dog.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Hey, have a great day. Take care. Awesome. You know, that was a refreshing conversation after my march around with nobody around. So I came at the wrong time of day, guys. This is my own fault. The next time I go, I'm gonna probably go to like White Ave maybe. See how that goes. But she made a couple good points there. You know, the whole idea, like, should we continue to try to save Canada? And then the last point about the Indigenous communities. So I want to talk more about that. I feel like Canada now is past the point of being saved. And I just, it's hard to not sound like a conspiracy theorist right now. So give me a tinfoil hat for a second, okay? But our Prime Minister just told the Americans that he didn't want to do business with them, that our relationship is over. And like, that was such a dumb thing to say. And then the next day he goes to China and negotiates a deal with him. And just so you know, like, the geopolitics of this, Venezuela, Maduro just got his ass kicked because he was in bed with the Chinese, right? That was one of the big reasons, if you know about it. So I don't think Canada's on a good path to be saved. I think it's kind of already past the point of no return. I'm sorry, guys, I kind of lose my train of thought when I approach people, because I recognize I'm projecting my voice a lot. But there's some people up ahead here, so if I get to talk to them, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll go back to what I was saying. Hey, how's it going today? I support Alberta independence. Where do you stand on that issue? Yeah, fair enough. So I think that's probably a no. Let's let this guy go. Hey. It could also be that I'm just kind of weird. This is not a place where people expect to see this. And so, hey. All right, so can Canada be saved? Tell me your thoughts on that. I think the trucker convoy kind of sealed the deal for me. The whole Emergencies Act. Maybe I'll make a concession here. I'll say maybe if they put Trudeau in jail, and I mean that, and they put Freeland in jail for breaking the law so many times, okay, then I think Canada could be saved. There might be hope. But we would need to see some serious accountability for what happened over the last 10 years. And so I don't want to approach people while I'm like, well, they're pumping gas, because they can't really escape, you know, so gotta plan these routes better. But no, I don't think Canada can be saved at this point. The system is working the way it's designed. In Ottawa, the Laurentian elites, as I call them, they have all the power. They will never give it up. And we will always be the serfs. We will be the milk cow until we become the beef cow. That's basically how this works. And then so for the other issue, I think that was really profound what she said about how the Indigenous people aren't being treated fairly. And she brought that up. She's like, do they have drinking water? I think they do have drinking water. God, I don't know. But I can tell you one story, and I'll close off this video unless I run into somebody. Guys, this is a really powerful story. When I worked in Wabasca, I worked in the oil rigs, and we would go into town, and there's a bar that everybody would go to, the rig guys and Indigenous people would go there too. And one night we had a big party, and of course, you know how it goes, guys. We all got really drunk. I didn't really get that drunk, but I remember walking outside the bar, and there were a couple of young women. They must have been in their 20s, 30s maybe, and they were talking about the thing that YouTube doesn't let you talk about. Okay, and it just stuck in my mind, and ever since then, I've thought about the situation of people in the Indigenous communities, and my heart goes out to them. I want nothing more than the best for everybody in this country. But I feel like the current status quo, the way the treaties have been set up, the Indian Act, and it's called the Indian Act. What a racist thing. It's the most racist piece of legislation that we have. And that's the current law of the land. And there's people who are so devoted to it that they you know, we could renegotiate that nation to nation, people to people, equals, something that's actually fair, that works for us. So, anyway. Well, they were walking towards me, and then they turned around. Hey, how's it going? Good, I support Alberta independence. What's your position on that issue?
I'm okay, buddy.
You're okay? All right, have a great day. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. So, I guess that's a good place to kind of close up this video. I am not an expert, and I got to just say a couple more things to qualify here. I get things wrong, and I will fully admit when I get them wrong. So if I said anything in this video that was wrong, please leave a comment. I will do my best to fix it and try to learn. And then the other thing I want to say is I am not affiliated with any other group, any group at all. I definitely support the Stay Free Alberta campaign and Alberta Prosperity Project, but I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just a private citizen making YouTube videos. And so please, the lesson from this is be bold, right? Get out, tell your friends, tell your family, buy a flag. If you're not gonna wave it proudly, like I am, which is maybe a good idea, then at least, there you go. That's actually illegal to pass pedestrians like that when they're in a marked crosswalk. Anyway, so be bold, get some stickers, put them on your car, and speak up. Okay, we need more people like this. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. The next one I'm gonna go to, I think, is White Ave. But tell me where you think I should go. All right, cheers.